Oh, there we go. I think I should make these intros a little shorter, having like 2 or 3 minutes. I don't need that much of a build up. I suppose if I had a bigger channel with more of a following and got people kind of in and excited that something was coming, that would be great. But I'm a mess tonight. Anyways, back here is going to start slowly looking like more and more of a mess because I have to start packing. I'm going to be going through the process of moving very soon, and all of this is going to have to come down and go in boxes. Not looking forward to it. I don't even have a place yet as it is. So I thought I'd just kind of come in here and draw a little bit. It's going to be a short stream. I don't think I'm going to be more than an hour unless people start showing up and want to start getting chatty. That'll be about the only that'd be probably the only reason I would stay longer. But if I'm not seeing many people coming in here, then I probably won't stay. I have, you might always show one in the chat because it's me. I keep the phone open with this going because the chats on Streamlabs Talk Studio show your comments come in probably about 30 seconds after you send it. But if I have YouTube open on the phone, I can see the chats come in almost immediately right away when people send them. So when your comments come in, I can see it on there. So I keep YouTube open on the phone, but Streamlabs, it's really delayed. I've seen them come in like almost like a minute after it sends. And then when I want to reply to it, you know, comments gone, forgotten, and probably people have left. So anyways, I'm going to try and open the tablet. I thought I'd do a little bit of drawing anyways, and at least kind of get some things going. It's too bad I'm not having the best of luck with live streams as of late. I've tried a few formats going live. I've actually gone on TikTok because I've seen other people go on TikTok with like I have about 1,300 people who are subscribed to me on TikTok. I don't do much on there, but I tried going live and nothing. Like maybe 1 or 2 people will drift in and comment, and that's about it. I've seen people with less subscribers have more engagement than that, with a lot more people coming in, a lot more people chatting. I don't know what it is. I try to talk. I even tried playing 80s music in the background. I know you're technically not supposed to do that, but people seem to be getting away with that anyways with playing copyrighted music. I'm not doing that here because YouTube really crunches down on that. So that's going to be a big no-no on YouTube. But yeah, I tried going on there. Everybody's telling me, oh, just go live. Try doing some drawings on TikTok. And I set up the phone over stuff and nothing. A while ago, I tried doing that on Instagram, and I actually got a bunch of people watching. This is like a couple of months ago. Tried it again about 2 or 3 times. Nothing. There was like nobody showed. Some people popped in for a minute and then left, so there was nothing. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm seeing other people getting all this engagement, and it's maybe because I'm not on very much, maybe because I'm not active on the apps themselves. I don't know, but I see people getting a lot more engagement. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. And it seems to be the same with YouTube as of late. So I'm trying to do this on a regular basis. I'm going to see if right now if I can do Thursday night, since I have the freedom to do so tonight. Until this changes again, I normally would work on Thursdays, and it'll probably go back to that very soon, I think. If not, I still have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday free. Mondays, by the way, I do if you're interested in Star Trek, I do a chat with a friend of mine on it's under Techno Dave. Oh God, Dave Prime, I think it's called Dave Prime. I'll have to get the name of it. Dave Prime 1701 maybe. But it's a live stream every Monday night. It used to be Wednesdays, now it's Mondays, and we chat for about an hour and a half over a specific episode, and Dave likes to set up a theme, sort of like a monthly theme, and we'll watch a few episodes that kind of are in that theme, and yeah, we just kind of sit, and there's a group of us that come in and we chat about it. So that's on Mondays, but because that ends at 9:30 Eastern, I kind of wanted to do a stream on Mondays, but then that got moved to Mondays. So I might try and start one after. Like as soon as that one's done, then I'll start my own on my own channel. If that kind of makes sense. I don't know. It pushes it a bit late for the East Coastern people for a Monday night, but Wednesdays, I want to start up Art Block again with Enrique if I can do that, provided he's free on Wednesdays. And also there's Tuesdays, something might get moved in there and I'm not too sure. That's kind of the plan. That is kind of the plan. Apparently I do have a viewer. Hello, viewer, whoever you are. I have a feeling I might know who it is. I might know who it is. I don't want to say names just yet, but I think I know who my mystery viewer might be who keeps popping in here and doesn't say anything. Unless somebody says something in the next moment or two, I think my mystery viewer is not going to say anything. But I think I know who it might be. I'm going to try and see if I can turn this a bit. I want it to kind of face me on this camera. You can already see, look at all the garbage piling up there already. All the stuff that's got to be packed. But I'm going to try and open up the monitor. And we'll see this is already cropping really tight. I'm going to see if I can fix this. It's too bad there wasn't more people in here. While I do this really quick just to change the monitor, I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm going to be reduced in size in a moment. All right, let's just ignore that for then. I don't like it having this cropped. I feel like I'm too tight in this window. I'm too close, and I'd like to move that back. So let's open this up. All righty. All right, there we go. I'm hoping that maybe with this on, if I start doing this on Thursdays on a regular basis, well, if I pick a night, whatever night ends up, because I don't know if I'll be able to keep Thursdays, as I said, but if I can do this on a regular basis, I think it'll help kind of generate interest because people will come to look for you on that particular night. We'll see if we can get a steady build-up of people. I'd like to start getting a few more subscribers if I can. My goal this year was to try and reach 1,000. I've been having a hell of a time though because I can't be stable with this. Unfortunately, I can't. If I had the freedom to do this regularly, I know I could have built up to that, but it just seems like the ceiling falls in every time I start to make a plan and I have a calendar layout and okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and then something hits the fan. Guaranteed, like just crap drops out of the sky and lands in my lap and just disrupts everything. So, by the way, as you can see, I've got Affinity. If you use Infinity, they did some major updates. I can't go over everything, and I'll show you why, but I'll open Affinity Photo really quick. If you like Affinity Photo, you can... which is a great Photoshop alternative because we all know how we feel about Photoshop. But hey, Matt, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. I just thought I'd pop on here for a little bit just because I had a bit of time. So I thought, oops, it's blinking out again. Look at that. It's doing it again. One moment. We'll get it back. The cord, it's the USB-C cord that's something's wrong with it, and it loses the connection once in a while, so it drops out. I'll have to keep doing this once in a while. I was going to talk a little bit about this. How are you doing, Matt? I know we gotta chat. We gotta chat sometime. I know for sure. My buddy keeps calling from the UK. Likes to chat a lot. He talks for a long time. I'll see if I can juggle a little bit tonight and see if you're around tonight. I'll see if I can try and squeeze you in. Yeah, you're not kidding. I'm getting fat. I've been indoors so much because I hate going out in this. It bothers my back, it bothers my knees, and so I tend to kind of stay in a lot as much as I don't like it, but it really is, it wreaks havoc on my health physically. So I'm doing okay though otherwise. I'll have to tell you about something that's happening later on. There's people coming into the unit to install crap because they can't wait. So it's disrupting everything. It's just tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon-ish, but it's a bit ridiculous. So I'll give you the details later on. It's just stupid. But yeah, I was going to open up Affinity Photo. For those of you who like using Photoshop or who use Photoshop for drawing or photography, and don't like paying their high monthly prices and don't like their business practices and don't like the fact that they've announced that they want to use your stuff to train their AI, a great alternative is this little guy here called Affinity. They have 3 programs, and 2 of them are Affinity Photo, Affinity Designer, and Affinity Publisher. I don't use Publisher. I don't have that one. I wouldn't have any use for it. But Designer and a Photo are the 2 that I like to use. Affinity Photo, of course, is their answer to Photoshop. It works differently, but it's essentially can do all the same things. The nice thing is about the Affinity Suite too is you pay one price and that's it. You don't pay a monthly fee for Photoshop. But Affinity, these little sections up here are different, what they call personas. So Affinity Photo will have different, like if you take Photoshop, usually when you get Photoshop in Lightroom, right? Affinity takes those 2 and puts them together into one program, and that's what these are up here. So you can see if I hover over it, can you see it says Liquify Persona? Okay, that's if you're doing some different activities. Develop Persona is actually Lightroom. I don't have anything open, so I can't click on it and open it, but if I had a photo open, you'd see it would change. And Lightroom is basically, sorry, let me give me 1 second here. The Develop Persona is basically Lightroom. And it does mostly all the same things, just lays it out differently. Tone mapping, and then there's your export. To export, when you're done something, you switch to this, and it goes through your whole export process. And it's kind of nice the way it breaks it down. Designer doesn't have this many. Affinity Designer doesn't have this many personas. It just basically has their version of Illustrator, and then also just a drawing, a pixel persona, which is your basic drawing. So if you use Photoshop for drawing, although Photoshop kind of use it for drawing and photos, Affinity Designer kind of breaks that up for you a little bit. So open up, I wonder if I can open something up for this. Let me just make a blank file, like just a blank white sheet here. So they added this little guy here, this owl. Now, they call it something else. It's an object selection tool. It's a machine learning, they call it, which is their way of saying AI without saying II. Now, don't panic on this thing. I know everybody's like, they've sold out to AI. No, it's not quite that. It's actually a type of selection tool. It's all it is. It's a tighter, more solid selection tool for something in your images. Maybe I can try and I should have gotten a picture ready or something that I could use. I wasn't going to go into that much detail with it. The nice thing is about this is that it stays on your computer. They're not gathering information to train it from your work. They don't have access to your work. Whatever you use the tool for is whatever you use it. It's not really AI. It's not generating backgrounds. It's not filling in spaces. It's not cheating. It's just simply a more effective selection tool is all it is. Now, in order to use it properly, you see when I click on it, a little warning comes up here, and that you have to have a couple of more segments installed. If you decide you really want to use this, you go into your settings, and you have to install these 2 more items, segmentation and I don't know how you pronounce that, saliency. You would install those. If you don't want this at all, if you really don't like the idea of this machine learning AI garbage, don't install them, ignore the little owl, and you just go on using it how you wish to use it. If you do want to try it, you can install these. Apparently it takes up a little extra CPU, I guess. Anyways, it's like it's there if you want it, and you don't have to if you don't want it. And if you do decide to use it, it's not connected with Affinity the way Photoshop links you to Photoshop, Adobe, right? The Affinity won't do that. What happens on your computer stays on your computer. We'll put it that way. The interesting thing is, too, is if you don't want 2 programs, I didn't realize this until later. I have them both, but if you want to you can just draw right in Affinity Photo and use it pretty near the same way as Designer as a drawing tool without using the Illustrator type tools, right? I'll show you really quick here. Let me close this off. We won't save. Whoops. Let me just close that. It is. Oh, it did close. Okay. So let's go back in. So there's Affinity Photo and there's Affinity Designer, right? So we'll click on Designer. It's the blue one. 2.6.0. This is the new one. So they just announced this a few days ago. And it's updates for both your desktop and the iPad versions. So I'm just going to create a blank sheet again. And again, you see here, it has the multiple personas. This one just has the two. This is Designer, which is their Illustrator type of program. So it's when you draw, it's with nodes like this, right? That you can, right? So that when you grab them, you can change your nodes. And they've done some updates to these little nodes. I don't use this that much because I've never really been a big fan of this. I've never really used Illustrator. And I know there's some changes that they made here to this, and I'd have to kind of go back in and find out what exactly that is. So unfortunately, I can't give you too much detail right now what that is, but I can find out a little bit more about it if people are interested. I don't think I will right here, but there's sort of different types of like mapping tools in that, right? So, and there's your brush tool, which you can kind of brush, but again, you have nodes on this that you can move and stretch. And so that's great if you really want to make precision inking. And I've never used them before. I'd like to actually start learning a little bit with this. So anyways, this is the Illustrator version. But if you want to draw in the traditional manner, let's get rid of this. Actually, I think we can even just leave it. We'll go over here to the next one next to it, which says Pixel Persona. And when we click on that, all the nodes disappear. You can see that you can change it, stretch it like this. You can see the line in the middle, but you can kind of alter it this way, but all the little nodes are gone. You can't drag the parts and change and bend it that way. So this is now a traditional way of drawing. So if I come over here and I can select something out of my pen menu. You can also, by the way, one of the things I did add is this little search bar. So if you're looking for a particular tool with a particular name, you can type it in, but it only finds it in that group that you're looking for. So if I'm looking for a specific brush and I type in the name of it, it'll only be in pens because I have pens selected here. If I go into inks, again, if I'm looking for a specific ink, if I say comic, it'll select these two only out of the inks, not out of any of the other menus up here. So that's the only thing with that. But I don't have that many here, and it's usually pretty easy for me to find it. So I don't know if it's something I'll use that often. But that's some of the updates that they've done to it. So see if I can just erase that. So I don't know. I was going to kind of don't know if I'm going to stay on for very long tonight. I can maybe do kind of a little quick drawing just to kind of demonstrate a couple of things on Affinity. I've lost people already. Wow. Okay. I still have one viewer, I guess. I think I lost Matt. Yeah, unless you're actually using this stuff, I guess it's not going to be. It's not really going to be that necessary for anybody. This is showing something here, and I don't know what. This is curve, but I don't think there's anything else on here. Interesting. Okay, unless it's the eraser is doing something with it. I don't know. Just this weird thing here with the. Can I delete that? Yeah. And we'll add a new pixel layer. The weird thing I can't get used to in Affinity is that in other programs, Photoshop, Clip Studio, everything else, when you go to do a color layer, and then people are also really used to this on Procreate, although I think Photoshop did this first. When you do an ink drawing, right? When you have some sort of ink drawing, you want to fill in a color, right? The colors don't go underneath. You can't make a reference layer. It does not make a reference layer. It's very strange this way, and I'm still getting used to how this program works, because when you add a layer, it goes over top. And what you do is when you go over to the fill bucket and you click on that, you'll see up here, it says current layer and below, and you have three options. Current layer, let's pick a color here. I'm using red. Well, red does stand out, I guess. We'll go with this funky red here. Current layer. Oh, doesn't even, oh, because I have the current layers on top. So it's going to fill the whole thing. If I click on the layer underneath for pixel, I click it, it'll just fill in that ink. But this is a destructive format, which means that once the color is inside the inking, it's touching it, you can't really make that many changes. So if I can change the colors on it if I want to, right? But it's connected to this on one layer, and most people, when you do coloring, like to work under the ink, like when it's cell painting, right? You would paint, you'd have the ink on the top layer of the cell, and you'd flip it over and you color underneath. It's the same idea now with this, and it just you have more freedom to work with your colors and with your shading and adding textures if you can do those in layers underneath. But we're used to going down. This in turn is going up, and it's very confusing because when you think of it, it's supposed to go underneath this, because if you zoom in, you start getting these little bits of white that you can see here. It never really fully connects, and if that color is inside it, whoops, I want to go back. That color is inside, and I switch to a brush. Let me just get the right color. You can see it's just going to go over top. So I would have to go underneath, and you can just simply take it and, well, actually, we're inside that color right now. So let's do it this way. Before I do that, we'll go back to the paint bucket. I'm jumping ahead of myself, sorry. Current layer and below, right? Now, if I do that, let's switch to top. Okay, so we've selected this blank transparent layer that's on top, the black circles underneath. I click, fills that in. So it's selected, and you can see here, over here, that it's treating the black underneath that black circle like a reference, and it's filling it in on the blank layer that's on top. You still have the same problem that you have those white spaces up here. As you can see, it doesn't close that. And they're very annoying if once you start having something underneath. If I have a blue underneath, that'll creep through a little bit. If I want to fill that in, again, it's going over top. So what I can do is, after I've done that, is flip it and move it underneath if I want. Now I can fill that in, and you can see, right, it's closing those gaps. See this little bit of white right there? I can color underneath, and it closes those gaps, which is nice. Makes it nice and solid. So when I click on this and make it disappear, you can see what the color is doing, right? So you have to flip it afterwards. Now I can go back. We're going to go back a few steps. Let's go back to having this as being blank. The other option is, it says, whoops. No, there's another option. This is layers beneath. And I'm not sure how exactly that works, because I know if I switch this, I thought maybe it might do this, but it doesn't. So if I click on this, it's still just, it's ignoring the black line. It just fills it in. I still don't quite understand it. it's a little confusing, and I don't like it. Now, here's another thing you can do. Is this this is another way you can do this, is that if you want to color underneath, instead of making a reference, I can use the selection tool. I'll grab the magic wand. You can see here with the marching ants, it's selected the inside. Now I click on the layer underneath, grab the bucket, and it should stay inside that selection. Even though it selected it on the layer above, it will fill it in. But again, in the end, you still have those little tiny white gaps. But again, because it's underneath, we just do the same thing again. We grab our pen, and I can quickly just run that around and fill that in, right? Now those are gone. So that's the only thing. It just doesn't have a reference. It wants to go on the layer above, which I find kind of annoying. But there's other ways around it, and I just make do with it. So if I'm going to use Affinity, I just kind of make do with that. The other thing I'm not big on is its selection tool, and it's not when I select an object, it's if I want to select something, if I want to make like a square, a circle, and then stroke it. And I'll show you what I mean here. Let me delete these. And we need another pixel layer. It's very odd. So I'll select this. Oh, this has a negative on it. Now, how do I switch that again? I don't remember how to actually make that. Oh, here, it's up here. So here's the marching ants, right? And this, I like this if I was going to lay out a page to make comics in, and I wanted to make the panels, because you can do this. I can break them up. Whoops. Ugh. Good Lord. You know, like this. And you have some comic panels. You can play around with the size. You know, there's ways you can specify those. And then you would just click outline selection in Clip Studio, or stroke selection in Photoshop, and also has a stroke in Pixelmator Pro, which one of these days I will do a whole dedicated video on that once I learn a little more about it. But it's a little more useful than people realize it. It was bought by Apple. Anyways, on with this one. Now, if you go down into Quick Effects, there is, which is down here, and you click on Quick Effects, there is outline, but the problem is it wants to outline an object, and there is no object in here yet to outline. So it will not do that. There's nothing there to do it with. It has to have, if I had a big blob of color, it would actually outline that. Or if I had some lettering, it would outline that. But when there's nothing there, it won't do that. So where you have to go is, I believe they've kind of moved things a little bit. Give me a moment. I apologize. I should have actually, oh, there it is, outline. They haven't disappeared. It looks like it, but it hasn't. It's still there, because if you grab this scale down here at the bottom, it says outline selection. I'll move that out. Oh, look at that. You're changing the thickness of it. You can set the thickness. And I don't know if I like this way, because you have to go in and fill it in yourself. You still have the option of doing outside, center, inside, just like the Photoshops. But once you have this, all right, let's say it says 4.7. I can change the size directly. We'll say 3. We'll make it really small. Apply. So they're really tight. It's really small. We'll go with black. If I grab the fill bucket, it should do them all at once. But the problem is, oh, there it did it. I was having a hard time tapping on it before. It didn't want to do that. It kept missing it. And if you can zoom in, I guess. Let's we can zoom into this, and you can try and get it a little bit tighter. So there, it's a little easier. Okay. So there you go. I find that really bizarre. I don't know why. I guess it's so you can see the size of the thickness, but then you have to color it. You can't just, with Photoshop and Clip Studio, it's just you stroke it and it's done. And then you can adjust it, and you can see the thickness of the line afterwards. You can see what it's going to be here. It's it's adjusting your marching ants into the size that you want it. And that's kind of how that works. And now I can deselect, which is Command D. Let's move back. So now you have your panels if you want to do some comic panels. So you can still kind of do it the same way. It's just, it's Affinity, I guess they wanted to be different, and they found a different roundabout way of doing it. I don't know if it's necessarily better or worse. Some people like it, some people don't. But as far as laying out something like this, when you need a selection done of that's not an object, this is kind of how it's done. However, the outline, let me try something else here. I really haven't experimented much with this. I still have a pixel layer. Grab this, we'll make a color, we'll grab here, and we'll just make a bit of a blob here for a second. I know I'm not really drawing anything yet. It's not as fun when you're not drawing cartoon characters, I get it. But I think for some people, if you want to know a little bit about this, this might help out. So now let's go back out to outline. Oh, there you can see it. Bada boom, look at that. Now there's where you can outline an actual physical object that's already there. You can change the opacity, right? And there's it doesn't have the one thing I noticed. Oh, it does have a drop shadow, inner shadow, gradation, outer glow, outer shadow. There we go. Let me oops. I was going to say, let me just change the size of this line. Oh, there. So now you can see the shadow a little more. The line was too thick. The shadow doesn't go very far. Well, it's really tight down the bottom here. I could drag that out, I guess. I usually just don't like doing that. I like leaving it in. So we can expand our radius and offset it a little bit. We can drag it, and the direction is there as well. And the opacity of it if you want it darker or lighter. It's all under the ticker here, by the way, but if you have this program, it's visible, it's under there. So yeah, so there is that. But if I go over here and I want to make an object, if I want to, again, make a square like this, the outline doesn't do that. It only affects the outline on a physical object. It won't do it on this. Right, so that's kind of it in a nutshell. I have two people watching. I'm not sure who's on board here still. Matt, are you still there? I always have one mystery viewer, and let's just check what's going on here. Sorry. I just need to check something on my iPads. Just seeing if I got a response from somebody on something. I apologize. I shouldn't really be doing this on a live stream, but I just have so much kind of going on all at once. Yeah. Anyway, from my two mystery viewers, do you have any questions? Man, as I said, I tried doing a live on TikTok, and I tried to live doing it on Instagram, and I was just getting nothing. There was nobody watching. TikTok's weird. You'll see people come out and go. Here's a weird thing. TikTok, if you go live, you can get anybody, whether they're subscribed to you or not, you can get anybody watching, but they'll just flip through. And so I see all these names constantly coming up. Somebody just joined your live. This person joined your live. This person joined your live. But yet when you look at how many people are watching, it was sitting at 1, maybe 2. But all these people would flip through and come in and then leave. Instagram, at least, the viewers are people who are subscribed to you, who follow you on Instagram, because they see it in the little row at the top, right, where you see your stories. So they see that come up as live, and then those people will come in. So you have, it's a little more personalized. I don't know if you can you watch random lives on that for people you're not subscribed to? I don't know. I don't know if that works or not. But I did notice I had a few people come in for a moment and then leave, and I was still only stuck with like 1 or 2 viewers occasionally. So, but TikTok, man, is just, it's, I don't know why bother with that app. It's kind of useless and I think kind of trashy, but I don't know. It's just me. I know lots of people like it, and I don't want to come down on people if they like it, but like there's only one other artist I have on there that I kind of follow, and everyone else is kind of given up on. But yeah. So anyway, so that's that. I don't know if it's worth maybe kind of doing a drawing or not. Oh, I do want to check and see, because I might know who one mystery viewer might be. Let's see. No, don't think so. All right. So if it's not this person, it's that person. Anyway, so I really like to use Affinity Designer more often. I think I just have to get used to the program and how it works, because it is so different from everything else I've used. Because even Photoshop kind of set the standard and everything else kind of followed it, just laid things out differently, but it used the tools the same way. So whether you use, Clip Studio followed what Photoshop did. So did I never used Corel yet. Corel used to be big. Now you don't hear it as much, but it's still a really expensive program. I guess it's more if you like painting digitally. But even it, I think, follows kind of the same format. Pixelmator Pro also follows a similar format, just laid out really differently. And what's the other? Oh, Krita. Krita was trying to be different. I think it confused people, and now they altered its interface, so you have some different ways of using it, but you can also use it the same way you use Photoshop. I never played a lot with Krita. I had it for a while, and I'm not really too sure how to use Krita. Like, I don't know how you can bring in other tools, if you can. I mean, it's supposed to be designed by artists for artists, and it's completely free, and it does a lot. For a free program, you can get a hell of a lot out of it. So if you're not looking to spend any money, Krita is definitely an option. Please don't use, what's the one with the dog? I forget the name of it now. I'm drawing a complete blank because of my brain is not working properly anymore. I really do have some memory problems. I have some like horrific memory problems. It's getting a little bit. It's been a little bit concerning, actually. I may have some health problems. I don't know, but my memory is getting really, really bad. What is the name of that one? Not Credit GIMP. Oh my God, GIMP. There we go. There's also Inkspace, which I tried once, but I don't know. It's closer to, I think they charge for it now. I don't know. It's more like an Illustrator type thing, I think. But anyways, there is GIMP, which is also free. And every time I've tried to I heard they make these big upgrades to it. And I thought, oh, let's check it out and see what they've done with it. And it's still crap, and it still doesn't work right on a tablet. It's useless. It's never. I don't know. I don't understand why it still exists. I think people just have it to laugh at it. It's so horrible. Just don't bother with it. Don't let it take up any space on your, unless you really want to pull it out to open it and play with it and just see how horrible it is, and then you're going to end up deleting it. Every time I hear that, oh, they've upgraded it and they've done all these big things with it now, and I open it and it's still garbage. If you want a good free program to draw in, go with Krita. I guess GIMP, if you want to do like a cheap Photoshop knockoff, sort of, but not quite, if you do want to do photography, but you're not going to get anything out of it. Honestly, if you have a computer and you have a decent desktop system and you can afford that, just get a cheap program. Pixelmator and Photomator are both really inexpensive. Photomator is fantastic, and it's not terribly expensive. Affinity is not terribly expensive, and if you like drawing, you should be using Clip Studio if you're an artist. I would say use Clip Studio even over Photoshop. I think Photoshop is more than it is. They actually have college programs for Photoshop. Like, why there should be maybe digital art programs and get used to using different ones. Teach people a little Photoshop, a little Clip Studio, a little Affinity, and get used to it. But there shouldn't be full entire programs on just that, because that's how they corner the market with this bullshit. If you're going to do that, have a program for Affinity. Then have one for have a night school courses for Clip Studio. That thing is a loaded program that has a lot that has the learning curve to it on its own. But I think if you're an artist, go with an artist program. Photoshop was originally designed for photography, and Clip Studio was designed for artists. And I know Photoshop slowly adapted to artists over time, and people have loaded up on their brushes. There's ways you can convert those brushes into other programs. There's ways you can do that. So if you have lots of them, but you want to get rid of it and realize, oh no, I spent this money. I spent like $80 on like 400 brushes. You don't need 400 brushes, by the way. But if you do have them, there's ways you can put them into other programs and stop wasting your money on Adobe. Because I'm never forgiven them. I've saved money by dropping them. And don't use GIMP. One day I'll have to go over iPad. I know there is a way I can plug the iPad into this thing, and so I can have an iPad image up here instead of like the regular desktop. But I need to start loading this up, I think, with more. I've got a bunch of good brushes here. I want to kind of put some more in. Here I just said you don't need 400 brushes, and I have a lot here, but most of these I don't use. Some of these are already pre-built in, right? A lot of them I probably will never use. But yeah, so there is other options that you can use. Well, that's really soft. Can I darken that? That is 100%. Flow, I guess. Yeah. Let's see, what's a darker one here? H is for hard. So the harder it is, the harder the lead, the less that comes off of that, right? And so you want like a softer one, a B. There's an HB and a 2B, or not 2B. 2B, so these look like little puff balls. It's supposed to be pencils, and they don't feel like pencils on this program. They work. They do the trick. They do the trick if you need something to draw with. It looks like kind of pencil-y. They will do what you need them to do, but I think there's better. I get some drawing tools from. Oh, this has got tilting, does it? Oh, nice. Okay, so you can go like that and tilt your pen. When you tilt it, you get different. That's like your charcoal. I love it when it does that. I never use them that much, but I think it's a great thing to have. And Blaze, who is a Disney animator, who does not do that anymore. Now just works on YouTube and at home, online, does some amazing stuff and has some amazing programs. And his website, he sells some fantastic tools. I bought a bunch of them. Some of them I've incorporated into here. I see here up here I have Aaron's custom brushes, Aaron's sketching brush, which is Pastel C, and that's a bit big. And see if I can reduce that. I think it does look a little bit different. They were designed kind of for Photoshop, but they'll work here and in Clip Studio. So another, yes, this is kind of like bubbly, but that's all right. It kind of works if you're just doing a rough sketch. Another really great place to get them if you want some fun tools is True Grit. True Grit Supplies. They is it called? Yeah, it's True Grit, I believe. True Grit Texture Supplies. And they have one set, and I forget what it's called, but I bought it for Clip Studio. I think I'll have to look into it and find out what it is. But they have some really nice tools. A lot of it's to do with making things look retro. Like if you want to make some retro-looking comic books, make things look like old analog photocopies, really monochromatic color. That's the old printing style. It sells a lot of packages like that, but they do have a couple of nice sets of like I think one was called the Rusty Nib, and it's a set of really nice pens and pencils and things like that that give you a really good selection of drawing tools. And they have it for Photoshop, Clip Studio, and Affinity. So it's Matt, you're back. Nice to see you. I don't know how long I'm going to stay. I think I'm starting to lose my voice. I get used to doing this. These feel like they're really big. Oh, it is a splatter. Okay. Let me check the Pastel B. These look really, really large. I don't think they're supposed to be quite this big. Maybe it's because my drawing space is too, maybe because this drawing space is actually too small. I mean, I can. It seems very odd to me. Anyways, I'll have to play around with it a bit more. Drawing B. This is the one that I did like on the other program. I don't know if I'll actually do like a full drawing tonight. I did one the other night. I spent a couple hours doing this fun kind of Huckleberry Hound, and nobody watched. So I was like, what the hell did I bother with this for? I had a couple of people comment, but yeah. Mechanical. I think this drawing space, what is the layer sizes? Maybe I went with only 72 DPI. I don't know why the default is 72. It should be 300 now, your default. It should never be 72. Always go with, when you set it, even if you're doing like an 8x10 drawing space, this is 16:9. I just like working with that format. But your DPI should never be under 300 anymore. I don't know why they bother with that, but seems like I actually had about 3 people watching, but Matt, I know, is not far from me. Matt, you live within the GTA like I do, and we got bombarded with snow not recently or not too long ago, and it still hasn't gone away yet because it's been so bloody cold. It just sitting there kind of not doing anything, and I'm waiting for it to just start clearing, and I don't know when we're going to see some relief from this, but man, I just kind of want it to go away. I'm tired of it. My body is tired of it. I mean, it'll go away eventually, but geez. All right, so this, I can still do this the same way. I need to figure out where the normal opacity, there we go. I turn it down a little bit, turn it till it's really, really light. And then now on the top layer, I can do, let's see what kind of ink pens or inks. Inks is usually the one I like. This things like Sharp Bleeder, India ink. It's got a little bit of an angle to it. The Comic one is actually kind of nice, like the Comics G Pen. What do they do? Oh, I lost my layer. Okay. Let me lock it. There we go. But they've eventually come through and they have shoveled and plowed, and I can see there's a little bit of a light dusting over top. Oh, I think I've lost more people again. There's a little bit of a light dusting over top, but it's yeah. Let's check the stabilizer. Okay, I'm just a little test there. There's another program I have, like this stabilizer kind of pulls the ink pen out, and it's kind of not a bad idea. It's the stabilizer I like the best. I've never seen any other program use is in Sketchbook Pro, and you actually draw the line, and it will kind of straighten it afterwards. And you can set the percentage on how much you want it to do that. So if you know you have a little bit of a wiggle to your line, you just want to clean it up a little bit, you can set it low at about a 20 or 30%, or 2 or 3, I think, on there, and it'll do it a little bit. If it's a little bit too wild, it'll really pull it and straighten it out. But it's really, I really, really like it a lot. And I've never seen any other program develop anything else like that. Can anyone else hear that? I can hear the woman in the unit across from me, and it's really loud. I think I'm going to call it because I've only got one other person watching again. So I think I'm just going to call it here. I was going to do a bit of coloring with this, but I'm not kind of liking how this is going at the moment. And I think it's just me tonight. Let's get rid of this stabilizer now. It's I am not feeling the best lately, so. And then when the what the hell? Why is it doing that? Why is it not filling in? What is wrong with this? Oh my god. It's reading the pencil line underneath. I don't understand. And I know I just talked about this, but I don't understand the dynamics of why it is doing that. Layers beneath, maybe that's why. Let's go current layer. That's probably why. There we go. About that already. Jeez. All right. You know, when I move, I'm hoping I can move to someplace that can be a little bit quieter. And you know, I might just actually just fill this in and then paint the white line underneath. All right. A little bit of light reflection off that. You know, by the way, if you're looking for something like an animated series, I know we're all into kind of the animated series lately. And there was one that came out in the late 90s. And I do remember this because it was a joint British and Canadian production that was called Bob and Margaret. And that might unlock a memory, I don't know. But it was actually really popular. It ran for only 4 seasons. It was really popular when it started, but it didn't really continue. And it's really funny. It was kind of written, and the voice work was all done in the UK. The characters are all from England, so all the voice work is done in the UK. And but it was done at Nelvana, and it was done after I left, of course. Damn, I would like to have worked on that. It was based off of a little short done in like 1993 called Bob's Birthday. And it's just a silly little short that actually I think won an Oscar. And then they wanted to make a series about it. This older couple who just live by themselves in a nice house in England, and no children and just 2 dogs. And it's just all the mishaps of their life, normal living, and all the little issues they run into. I think he's a dentist, and she does something else as a doctor of some sort. But it's just, and it's really funny. All the episodes are on YouTube. And I thought, what a great show. What a funny, great show. And it would have been fun one to work on if I had been able to stick that out long enough. But anyways, it's look for Bob and Margaret. The first 2 seasons apparently take place in the UK. Something happened, I guess they when it renewed for the season 3, they lost. I guess the UK was no longer to produce it, but Nelvana wanted to keep producing it, so they had the characters move to Toronto. So these characters now, for seasons 3 and 4, they live in Toronto, and saw how adapting to life in Canada. And it's so I don't remember watching many in the 3rd season because I think I didn't have TV at the time, and I thought the show had been completely canceled. But I'd like to check it out and go back and rewatch this show. But I caught a little bit of an episode, one where they were getting robbed, actually, and I was really laughing. But yeah, Bob and Margaret, what a funny show that was. Anyways, that's it. I'm going to call it here. This is a terrible drawing, and I'm embarrassed by it. I'm going to close this off. Anyways, if you sat and watched most of this, thanks. I appreciate it. I will see if I can make Thursday night a regular thing, and I think I'm just going to end it here for now. Thanks for watching. I've got stuff to do tonight, and we will probably talk again. Well, I'll probably do another one next week, I think. We'll see how it goes. I'll make an announcement one way or the other. Anyways, take care of yourselves. We'll do this again soon. Bye.